Call this meeting to order. This meeting, all the meetings of this committee are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin statutes, so the citizenry may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of the meeting. Roll call.
Henderson?
Here.
Gage?
Here.
Mr. Kempf is not present.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on August 2nd of 2016.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. There are no citizens' appearances. Department update.
Okay. You see the list of calls.
I don't
Not-
because it's not on my screen.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's right, you guys don't have to look.
No, I
The first one is the list for the month of August, and August was relatively quiet.
well, that's good.
With the fair being in town and our continued efforts against the drug trafficking, it was pretty quiet. We did have some big things, the traffic accidents and labor-intensive mental health complaints, but as far as major property crime or burglaries, it was quiet. And then the second one, if you scroll down for him, Patrick, is just the year-to-date calls, and we are behind last year, and that's a good thing in two ways. One, less calls for service, but two, we're utilizing Spillman better in classifying the calls that we go on. So if we have a burglary tonight and I check out on it tomorrow, I'm not checking out, starting an additional complaint. So it's looking like there's more complaints than there are. We're starting a follow-up on the original call.
Nice.
So that's working out. The only other thing that I'd like to bring to your, and of course, in the criminal referrals and citations, attention is oddly enough, I sent a letter to Canadian National asking them if they would be willing to sponsor our drug and alcohol program, Counteract. And with the urging of somebody in Washington who's affiliated with Canadian National, I put his name on it, and I sent a letter saying it cost me $2,500 to $3,500 a year. And in short order, I got a letter back saying that they were going to donate $5,000. So they will be keeping that program afloat, that donation, for at least 2 years.
Nice.
I haven't seen it yet, like things lately, but I'm sure it's coming. And that's all I really have for you. It's been relatively peaceful.
Good. What about the fourth squad car? Yeah, where are we at with that? I mean, I know that was supposed to come up in July, and then the chairman wasn't here. We pushed it off a month, and then it didn't end up on the agenda. I see it's not on there again. Where are we at with that?
We're using it.
Oh, I know we're using it, but what is it costing us anything repair-wise?
It hasn't had any repairs since we started. I don't even know that it's had an oil change. It hasn't had that many miles. It got used the whole week of the fair. I believe it's going to be used tomorrow and Thursday. Brandon and Matt have instructor development recertification in Wausau and Merrill, so it'll get used. It's like the backup car, and that's what we intended it to do. And we don't want to put high miles on it, but when we come to a situation like the fair where we might have 2 cars on the road and need one in the fairgrounds and a transport to the jail, it was used. And for the cost of gas and oil, I guess we looked at it that was the benefit to it, is its value is relatively low as far as resale, and it's protected in the garage, and until it has a major malfunction, we were hoping to keep it in service.
What's the insurance cost on that, you know?
It's like $500 a year,
5 a year?
which is roughly what we pay for all of our vehicles. 500 each, roughly.
Okay.
So it's a utility. I mean, it helps us out when we get jammed up. And an example would be last week, I got a mental complaint right away in the morning that took me off the road the entire day, took Justin to come in, take the transport. There's 2 cars gone. If somebody's gone on training, then that would be the backup car, and that's something that can happen.
Okay.
So it's being used, and I agree with all the discussion we've had on it. If it becomes cost prohibitive, it'll go.
I just wanted to.
I don't wanna sink any money into transmissions or anything like that. If it's gas and oil, and
Okay,
if it's getting used the way it's used now, the tires on it are gonna last for the life of the car, so. That was, our hopes is to keep it in there and keep it as a utility vehicle for us.
all right.
Transmission would go and the person would have to fix it.
No, we wouldn't have to fix it.
They can't just junk it out.
Push it to the
No,
side.
the thing about the car, because of the high miles and what it's used for, there's a couple of companies, there's one up by Wausau, there's one in Chicago. If the transmission blew on it today, they'd give us the same price they would with the transmission working, because they take them down, they do what they do to them, and then they sell them overseas for taxi cabs and whatnot. So they have, I've seen the pictures of the one in Chicago, and it's, 50 bays, and it's cars in and out every day. And that's what they do, so. And they have a prorate, the guy in Wausau is gonna be within $100 of the guy in Chicago. My guess right now would be maybe 900. But that price isn't gonna change if the car's in good condition, a year from now. It'll still be 900, because it won't have a whole
Get
lot
quite
of
a bit
miles.
more for them than what we're getting for them. The options
Yeah,
are like that.
well, and it's used, could we throw it out there, in the back with for sale sign or take silent bids on it? Probably, but I wouldn't feel real comfy having somebody driving around the Hemi, that car's got no horsepower, it's not built for personal use. But
How are you doing on the, part-time? Are we-
Lydia is in the shadowing phase, which is, that car is being used for this week too, so when Justin comes into work tomorrow night, Lydia gets in the Ford utility vehicle, she takes all the calls, and he's her shadow, so whatever the call is, he lets her go, he responds, to the area, depending on the nature of the call, and lets her handle it, so she hopefully will be out and taking shifts on her own here in the next 2 weeks. And she was just like, well, you were there, she's
Mhm.
pretty sharp,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
and very likable. Everybody she's come into contact with has been, she's a happy person.
So
You got
you-
a part-time already then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you have enough part-time now? Or,
we should be good,
good.
provided we don't lose anybody, but I don't know that to be the case, but we'll deal with it when it comes.
And training's all up to date?
Our training?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody's training is up to date, we submitted it to the state through ACADIS, which is, when our officer goes to training, they come back from training, they tell me, well, I went to legal update. I go on the computer, log in, tell Madison that officer went to legal update. And when they shoot, whatever the training is, it's a minimum of 24 hours, and then we have firearms and everything else. It goes into ACADIS, and the computer, it takes care of itself and lets me know if somebody's deficient. And the calendar year goes June 30th to June 30th, so we're kind of right in the middle of the year as far as the state goes. So I won't start worrying about additional training that's not, like Brandon and Matt are going to, they have to go to that training because they're instructors until after the first of the year, and then we start all over again, biannual pursuit training and whatever the year is that we need to address that particular training. So that's an ongoing thing.
Good deal. All right. There's something else that came to mind, but, other than the meeting, for next month, Tuesday the 11th, after recreation again? 7 o'clock or immediately thereafter? Okay with everybody?
Yeah.
You and me.
All right. Anybody else have any other such matters as authorized by law?
Just a quick update that, and I think we mentioned it last night, but the permanent siren controller,
Yep.
we're in the phase of laying out what it is we absolutely need to get it halfway programmed and set to go on the front end before it shows up here, so that they don't have to program it, they can just knock it in there. So that's, the ball's rolling on that too, so.
Good, good, good.
Okay.
Thankfully, we didn't need it last night, or this
You
night.
didn't see any of that, huh?
I was at work.
It was pretty intense.
It was nasty, yeah, I saw it.
All right.
I heard that noise like you said, and I wondered if we didn't have a tornado coming the way she growled and grumbled.
That's what I thought it was.
She really made a racket, holy mackerel.
All right then, well, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
A motion to second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
We're adjourned, 7:10.